thanks. Time right now is 8:26, and transforming tragedy into triumph is a difficult journey, but it is possible. And joining us this morning is Linda Shively, a true joy expert, love that title, with how she did just that. So good morning. Thanks for being here.
I'm excited to be here. There's nothing more exciting for me than talking about how I was able to transform tragedy into triumph.
And you had this big personal tragedy. Tell us what happened.
It was an awful day. I was sitting next to the head of pediatric intensive care. It was his day off, 2 days after Christmas. He should have been skiing in Vail. Instead, he was sitting with me in my daughter Jessica's hospital room. Jessica, days away from her 4th birthday, hooked up to all kinds of tubes and not responding. And the doctor looks at me and he says, "She's not going to make it." And I said, "What do you mean? Does that mean I have to pull the plug? Does that mean I have to kill my daughter?"
Yeah.
Just at that moment, all the alarms go off. Code blue people rush into the room, ready to revive her, and the doctor just waves them away.
Oh, wow.
And says, "It's her time to go." And we all stood surrounding her bed as her life started to fade. And I picked up Jessica one last time, and I could still feel that life in her. And then it was gone. And as I held her tiny corpse, that deep grief just washed over me. But more than that was a numbness.
Yeah.
And that numbness lasted for years, and I couldn't feel anything. But eventually I realized there had to be a way to get back to the joy. There had to be a way to get back to everything that she brought to my life and transform it. And so after 17 and a half years, I wrote a book about it called Getting to Joy.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy to have happiness after something like that happens.
What did you find helpful in your process?
So what I have for you are my 3 top tips for how to transform tragedy into triumph. And tip number 1 is laughter yoga. Now, I know you've laughed with humor or comedy. Laughter yoga means you just laugh.
Okay,
So,
we can do that around here.
So without any prompting, we're just going to laugh for 5 seconds. And so join me. Ready?
Okay.
So
Okay. It feels weird but fun.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
studies have proven that even forced laughter like this leaves you feeling better than when you started. Do you notice the difference?
Yeah, I do,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. And the tip number 2 to transform tragedy into triumph is to tell your story. Not to tell it over and over to the same people and bore them with it and become a broken record, but tell it to anyone, everyone. Just get used to talking about it.
Yeah.
Because when you're able to tell it from an empowered place, it's like a superpower that helps you navigate any challenges in life. And tip number 3 to transform tragedy to triumph is leave a legacy. It can be a legacy within your family or beyond. And John Walsh, after the murder of his son Adam, created America's Most Wanted,
Right.
which became a hit television show and put murderers behind bars. Candace Lightner, after her daughter Carrie was killed by a drunk driver, she fought tirelessly to change drunk driving and created Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And they're not the only ones. I started a fundraising walk, and the Jessica Fernandez Walks to Cure SMA have raised more than $1.5 million for research for spinal muscular atrophy.
That's amazing.
And when Jessica was alive, there were no treatments available. Now there are 3 FDA-approved treatments.
Wow.
And I'm just proud that her short life wasn't cut short meaninglessly. It had meaning.
Yeah, you've really transformed and have taken her sad story and turned it into something really good. So I know you offer more tips. You wrote the book. Where can people find more about this?
So the book's available on Amazon, and you can find out more about me on lindashively.com.
Okay, Linda, thank you so much for sharing your story and for transforming tragedy into triumph.
And you can transform tragedy into triumph too.
Thank you. Time right now is 8:30. We'll be right back after this short break.